For 73 seconds, the world watched Space Shuttle Challenger climb toward the heavens. It was a symbol of a future where space travel was becoming almost routine, a powerful testament to human ambition. But the story that was kept under wraps for years, out of respect for the 7 souls on board, began after the vehicle broke apart. For the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds, the crew cabin, with the astronauts sealed inside, arced through the stratosphere. This is the story of those final, harrowing moments, a sensitive look into what was initially hidden from the public and what the recovery divers truly discovered at the bottom of the Atlantic. On January 28, 1986, America was brimming with optimism. The Space Shuttle program seemed to be making the impossible ordinary. This mission, STS-51L, was especially captivating. On board was Christa, a high school teacher from New Hampshire, poised to become the first civilian and teacher in space. Her presence brought the dream of spaceflight into classrooms across the nation as millions of school children tuned in to watch the launch live. The crew was a reflection of America's diversity and talent. Commander Dick Scobie, pilot Michael Smith, mission specialists Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, and Ellison Onizuka, and payload specialists Gregory Jarvis and Christa McAuliffe. They were heroes, embarking on a mission to deploy a satellite and study Halley's Comet. But the day dawned unusually cold at Cape Canaveral, with temperatures hovering near freezing, a critical detail that sealed their fate before they ever left the ground. At 11:38 a.m., the engines ignited, and Challenger began its majestic ascent. Inside the cockpit, the mood was professional, even excited. The onboard voice recorder captured their final words to each other. "Go, you mother," pilot Michael Smith said, just 7 seconds into the flight. Mission specialist Judy Resnick added an exuberant, "Shit hot." As the shuttle broke the sound barrier and throttled up its engines, Commander Scobie's last transmission to Mission Control was a calm, "Roger, go at throttle up." But as they climbed, a tiny flaw was quickly becoming a catastrophe. The freezing temperatures had compromised the rubber O-ring seals on one of the solid rocket boosters. Just 58 seconds after liftoff, a plume of flame became visible, licking at the massive external fuel tank. On the ground, no one understood the gravity of what they were seeing. In the cockpit, there was a sudden, chilling realization. At 73 seconds, just as all data and communication were lost, pilot Michael Smith was heard saying one last thing. "Uh-oh." In that instant, the external tank ruptured, and the space shuttle was engulfed in a massive fireball. Traveling at nearly twice the speed of sound at an altitude of 46,000 feet, Challenger was torn apart by extreme aerodynamic forces. To the millions watching in horror, it looked like an instantaneous, unsurvivable explosion. The nation was plunged into shock. But what no one saw, and what NASA would hold back from the public, was that the crew cabin, the armored, reinforced section where the 7 astronauts were strapped in, was thrown clear of the fireball, mostly intact. Their journey wasn't over. While the world believed they were lost in an instant, the 7 astronauts began a terrifying fall that would last 2 minutes and 45 seconds. The initial breakup subjected the cabin to immense G-forces, estimated between 12 and 20 Gs, but these forces were brief. Within seconds, the G-load dropped dramatically, and the cabin was in a state of freefall. A medical analysis included in the official post-accident report concluded that these forces were probably not sufficient to cause death or serious injury. The crew cabin continued upward in a ballistic arc, reaching a peak altitude of 65,000 feet about 25 seconds after the breakup, before beginning its long plunge toward the ocean. What happened inside that cabin has been the subject of intense investigation. The official NASA report, written by Dr. Joseph Kerwin, stated that the crew possibly, but not certainly, lost consciousness in the seconds following orbiter breakup. This uncertainty hinged on whether the cabin lost pressure. At that altitude, a sudden depressurization would have rendered the crew unconscious in seconds. But evidence recovered from the wreckage told a more complex and heartbreaking story. Investigators found 4 of the crew's personal egress air packs, or PEEPs, which are emergency air supplies. They discovered that 3 of these packs had been manually activated. One was identified as belonging to pilot Michael Smith. Because his activation switch was on the back of his seat, investigators concluded another crew member, likely Judy Resnick or Ellison Onizuka, must have reached over to turn it on for him. This was undeniable proof that at least some of the crew members were alive, conscious, and reacting to the emergency. Further analysis of the wreckage showed that several electrical system switches on pilot Michael Smith's control panel had been moved. These switches were protected by locks, meaning they couldn't have been flipped by the force of the breakup or impact. Investigators believe Smith himself was trying to restore power to the cockpit. He was still trying to fly. The image of an instant painless death was far easier to bear than the grim possibility that for some period of time, the astronauts may have been aware of their predicament, falling through the sky with no hope of rescue. The final, terrible conclusion to their journey came when the crew cabin slammed into the Atlantic Ocean at approximately 207 miles per hour. The impact force was estimated at over 200 Gs, a force far beyond human survivability. In the hours and days after the disaster, one of the largest search and recovery operations in history was launched. For weeks, ships and submarines scoured the ocean floor. Finally, on March 9th, nearly 6 weeks after the accident, divers located the crew cabin resting in 100 feet of water. What they found was a scene of utter devastation. The cabin, having survived the breakup in the sky, had been shattered by the violent impact with the water. Out of profound respect for the crew and their families, NASA maintained strict privacy around the operation. The public was told that wreckage was found, but the sensitive details of what the divers saw were kept hidden. The task of identification fell to the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology. They painstakingly worked to identify the remains of all 7 astronauts, bringing a final, heartbreaking closure to their families. The last of the crew's remains were recovered by mid-April. The search for what happened was over. The long process of mourning and remembrance was just beginning. The story of Challenger is a tough one to tell, but it's a powerful reminder of the risks of exploration and the courage of those who accept them. If you believe their story is one that needs to be remembered, please subscribe and click the bell icon for more explorations into the triumphs and tragedies of our quest for the stars. The Challenger disaster was a national trauma that shattered confidence in the space program. The investigation by the Rogers Commission exposed deep flaws in NASA's decision-making, specifically the institutional pressure that allowed the launch to proceed despite engineers' warnings about the O-rings. It led to a nearly 3-year pause in the shuttle program and a complete overhaul of safety protocols. But beyond the technical failures, the heart of the Challenger story lies with the 7 individuals who were lost. The commingled remains of the crew were interred together at Arlington National Cemetery beneath a monument that honors their collective sacrifice. Two of the crew, Commander Scobie and Pilot Smith, also have individual graves there. At the Kennedy Space Center, their names are engraved on the Space Mirror Memorial, a slab of polished black granite that reflects the sky they sought to explore. For years, the full story of their final moments was shielded from public view, a decision made out of compassion. But knowing the truth, that they didn't all die in a flash of fire, but may have fought for survival with courage and professionalism until the very end, doesn't diminish their legacy. It enhances it. It transforms them from victims of a technical failure into heroes who faced the unimaginable with resolve. Their final, hidden moments were not just of tragedy, but of astounding courage. And that is how they should be remembered.
This book is your beginner's guide to understanding Scripture. Find peace, build relationships, and discover purpose in today's world. Ready to decode the Bible? Find Bible Decoded available on Amazon now.
If this content blesses you and you'd like to support our mission, you can buy me a coffee or give a super thanks. Every contribution helps us create more content to inspire and uplift others. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos.